is Damien from Mostly Harmless and New Noise Magazine, hanging out with Neil at Riot Fest in Denver. Much better time than your last Riot Fest in Chicago.
Well, yeah, weather-wise, it's been much more pleasant. Yeah, the crowd was great in Chicago, but it was like playing inside a cloud.
Yeah. You guys have a long history with Denver. You were just here in November, recorded a live DVD, or your show got used as a live DVD on DVD. You come through all the time. We actually met. I was one of the managers of the Black Sheep in Colorado Springs.
Oh, okay.
I came downstairs afterwards and harassed you that somebody had said once upon a time we looked alike. I think they just, they had a beard fetish. You find you attract a lot of the ladies with the beard fetish?
I don't know.
You have a ring on your finger, so I assume it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, my beard is just a byproduct of laziness, really.
Mine too.
It's much more convenient.
It just so happened that all of a sudden there was this beard trend coming around at the same time I decided to throw away my razor.
Well, yeah, it has become quite the thing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But the way I look at it, Billy Gibbons and Dusty Hill had their beards before everybody else, and they'll probably have them after everybody else shaves them off after the fat is done.
So you guys come through Denver all the time. When you return to Denver and play like a big, huge festival like this, what is it like for you guys after toiling away, the smaller places, and now here you are playing in front of a few thousand people,
Well, Denver really took off for us, a few years back, and the festivals are, it's a bit of a different environment. It's kind of, I think a lot of bands approach it as you're playing for your fans to come to see it, but you're also getting exposed to a lot of new people, and that's the way we approach it as well. I like coming here because I got a lot of family here, and I used to live here in Denver, and so it's nice to return. I love it here.
Why don't you live here anymore then?
Because the band's based out of Maryland, so it'd be kind of inconvenient.
Yeah. And speaking of the band, like you guys have been around for 25 years now?
Yeah, almost. Yeah,
almost 25 years. You guys have never really had any of the radio airplay, MTV support, and whatnot. And so, my best friend is obsessed with your band, and he was telling me, he's like, the most impressive thing is you guys have done this all on your own for the most part. You guys have done the work and put through all the effort. How satisfying is it to have done all this basically on your own?
Well, it is in hindsight, but 15 years ago, it certainly wasn't.
Yeah.
Now that I can look back and see the way things played out for this band, I can say that if we had had a hit, that probably would have been the end of the band. And I think that happens to a lot of bands. You have some kind of hit, you get a high watermark that you can never live up to again. And sometimes people don't want to swallow the bitter pill of downscaling.
Yeah.
And we were never in that position. And it takes a lot longer to build up a fan base by doing show after show after show after show. But what you get are people who love the band and not just that one song.
Right.
And like I said, I could say that now. But 15 years ago, when we were, living hand to mouth, it was a different, attitude, I guess.
Are you happy with would you change anything those days now that you can look back?
I mean, there's 1,000 things I would change, of course. But now I find ourselves in a position where we own our own record label. Our shows are bigger than they've ever been. So I'm not going to ask too many questions. I'm just going to keep going. We're just going to keep continuing what we're doing.
And owning your own label, being in charge of your own destiny, does that give you a certain amount of freedom you didn't have before? To kind of do more of what you want?
Yes, and it's more responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like anything in life. When you take that on, it's more rewarding. You get more freedom, but with that becomes responsibilities. And we always used to have to argue with the record label. Now we have those arguments amongst ourselves. It's a bit schizophrenic, and it's challenging because nowadays it's very hard to sell CDs to people. A perfect time to start your own record label. But I think that's for the best because we can adapt much more easily. I mean, shit, we were signed to Atlantic, Columbia, East West. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah, and here you are on your own, put out Earth Rockers.
Yeah.
Top 20 record, critically acclaimed, all on your own. How does that kind of success feel?
It's gratifying, to say that we were able to do that. I think major labels, they're in the business of selling platinum records. We're not a platinum record band, and the internet has allowed us to find those fans.
Yeah.
Whereas in the 90s and 80s, you had an A&R representative, and there was a marketing plan. They said, "What kind of band is it?" "Well, they're like this or like that." It was always tough for Clutch because we never really were that easy to describe verbally.
Well, and then that also kind of helps you guys in a way because there is nothing else really like you guys out there.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah. Where do you think the bands came from? Was it just the constant touring and working?
Where the what came from?
The bands, the draw, what you have, what you built. Is that just from constantly touring?
It's constantly touring, and it's the old adage of one person tells three, and those three people tell three, and opening for unlikely bands. Years ago, we went on tour with Marilyn Manson. You would think that was like a really inappropriate thing. I thought it was. In hindsight, it was one of the best tours we ever did because a set of ears is a set of ears. And sometimes bands get too preoccupied with, I don't know, it's not the right fan base. It's like, it's kind of an arrogant attitude to think like, well, that person looks a certain way, so they can't possibly like the kind of music I like. It's all rock and roll. Yeah. It's very easy.
How do you guys choose the bands to go out with you guys now that you have that power?
Sometimes they come on recommendations. I mean, there's so many bands, it's hard to sort through. Sometimes they're friends of ours. Sometimes it's the other way around. We open up for another band, and it's role reversal.
Nice. So you guys are about to finish up this tour. You're going to go into the studio and record the follow-up to Earth Rockers. Yeah. Now, with its critical acclaim, do you think about that critical acclaim when you're writing these new songs, or you just go from the gut right when you can?
That's what I should do. I won't lie. I mean, there's been some moments where I'm thinking, is this the right thing to do? And that's probably the worst thing to do, is start analyzing it from a third person, right? Yeah. No, I didn't personally think when we did Earth Rocker that we were doing anything different than we had done in the past. And that's probably what I should do again.
So how do you work on getting into that mindset, or can you?
I think we've been a band for so long. We want to stay fresh, but we also want to keep with our strengths, and it's about always trying to find that overall aesthetic. And it's a very vague thing, and you got to keep hammering away at it. And it's hard work sometimes. I mean, writing lyrics can be a real pain in the ass. I love it, but it can be difficult.
So I've seen you guys at the tiny little Black Sheep, 450 capacity. I've seen you at the Ogden, which is however many thousands. I've seen you here today. What's your favorite environment to play in? Where do you feel more at home?
Well, a nightclub. I like theaters, especially theaters that were built around the turn of the century, vaudeville era, because they were built for sound. And it's really easy to play on that stage. There's a line of sight everywhere you look, and there's places like that all around the country. So those are my favorite places. They're not too big. It's the Goldilocks zone.
Right. Yeah. Seeing you guys at the Black Sheep was it was incredible because that place is so damn small.
Yeah.
So hot.
There's something to be said about those places too.
Yeah. That's a life-changing experience. When somebody tells you that you've changed their life, had this profound effect on them, how do you take that? Do you take that in stride, or does that weird you out? I know people that it kind of weirds them out.
Well, it's in some regards it's the highest compliment anyone can say. I mean, especially if you influence someone you've never met through music, that's a kind of immortality in a way. I mean, you affected somebody's life, and they're going to probably hope in a positive way, and they'll affect somebody's life in a positive way simply by writing a couple chords and some words, and that's much more satisfying than say I sold out a club. And then on the other hand, there are some people where they'll go on and on and on about how you changed their life, and it is a little weird.
Is there anybody out there that you feel musically changed your life?
It would be a toss-up between the Bad Brains or Fugazi.
Nice.
Those were local, well, more Fugazi was a local band. Then I saw Bad Brains in D.C. once or twice, and even though I only saw them a handful of times, I was at an age where I was very impressionable about where my musical tastes were going to go in the future. And so those two bands played a big role.
Do you keep those two experiences in the back of your head when you're out here on the road?
Sometimes. I mean, I think I always keep in mind that, sure, we can have a bad night, or maybe I don't feel good. And I tell myself there's probably at least a handful of people out there who are seeing not only my band for the first time, but a band for the first time. And you only have one chance. They're not going to come back if you phone it in. So that's one thing I never saw either of those bands phone it in.
So where do you go from here? You have a few more days on this tour?
We got a day off in the middle of Kansas tomorrow. And then we go to Missouri, and then work our way back east. We finish off in Baltimore at a hometown festival.
Nice.
And then October, November, December, finish writing the record, record it in January.
Who's recording it?
Machine.
Cool. Awesome. And you guys are going to put it out on yourselves and then conquer the world some more?
It'll probably be out at the end of next summer, hopefully, if all goes as planned. And then start it all over again.
Well, Neil, thanks for hanging out and chatting with me, my friend.
Of course.
That was a pleasure. Keep that beard. I love it.
That's right.
Love the gray. I'm getting the gray coming in mine right now, and it's
called wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah. Well, I had somebody tell me that the red beard and the brown hair means wisdom. I'm like, lady, you don't know me very well. Because I'm the least wisest person you'll ever meet. But Neil, again.